Viewers and subscribers, welcome back to Beating the Press podcast. I am your host, Rafa. Now, coming up in this evening's podcast, we're going to be reviewing the action that was in the EPL over the weekend. And we had some big result. Arsenal coming good, even down to 10 men. And of course, Liverpool continue their lead in the table. City is probably turning a corner. But to discuss it all with me here, we have returned into the podcast, Christoph.
Good to be back, viewers.
Yes, indeed, Christoph, we're going to kick things off. We're going to get the ball rolling. And to me, the big shock of the weekend, Christoph, was Nottingham Forest being buried 5-0 by Bournemouth. Talk to us about that game. I did not see that result coming at any at all.
I did not see that coming. That is a shocking result, especially considering how Nottingham Forest has played all season. Um, Bournemouth just created the chances and they took them, to be honest. I don't think personally, I'm not sure they did anything special. They played how they've been playing all season, but when the chances fell to them, they took them. I mean, not to say, I mean, Nottingham Forest did have somewhat you could say probably poor defending on the day, as well as some shocking goalkeeping, in my opinion. But you still have to score those chances. But the goalkeeping in particular was quite shocking to me. But the same thing with if when we go over to the Chelsea game, Chelsea versus Manchester City, shocking goalkeeping as well. There seemed
Yeah, I
to be
mean,
a
pressure.
number of poor goalkeepers this season in the Premier League.
Well, I'm not thinking, I'm thinking this is just a blip, to be honest, on the Nottingham Forest defensive line. You
It's
know,
a it's a big blip.
well, it's a big 5-0 blip in all honesty. And I thought the game just got away from them as they pushed towards probably trying to score a goal at the other end. Uh some sublime goals, I would say. To be honest, I wouldn't really blame it on the goalkeeper. I mean, even the
I
first goal by Clivert, that was a sublime finish. I
I
mean, he should have been closed down. He ran almost the entire half and then buried a shot from outside the 18 yard. I mean, with the defense backing away from him. And from that one went in, it was lights out, so to speak. But I thought it was some good chances being taken and created by Bournemouth, in all honesty. And while Nottingham Forest had a few chances, I don't think any was as clear cut as the Bournemouth chances. And of course, the Bournemouth keeper came up with a couple decent saves also to keep this Nottingham Forest team at bay. But in terms of the result, definitely, I did not see 5-0. I mean, I could have seen a 2-1 or a 1-0, but a
1-0,
5-0
but 5-0
margin
is
was
a shocking result.
definitely shocking. And I'm hoping this is just, as I said, a blimp on the Nottingham Forest radar. I mean, they've been playing some sublime football all season, and the hallmark of their run, to be honest, has been a tight defensive unit. So this is a shocker, giving up really 5 goals in one game, in all honesty. But credit to Bournemouth for sure. Credit definitely due to Bournemouth. I mean, this is not a game which is surprising to many. I mean, Bournemouth has been on a good run, and it wouldn't have been a surprise if Bournemouth had won the game, but by such a margin, to me, that's the big shock. But Forest have to wheel and come again, pretty much. To maintain their status up there in the top four. And speaking of status, Christoph, there's nowhere else to go after this Bournemouth game but to look at that Man City Chelsea fixture. Man City, Christoph, have they now turned the corner? Can we say City has officially turned the corner?
I mean, potentially you could say that, perhaps in the Premier League, but probably not at the European stage. They seem to still be getting beaten by teams that,
Well, they have one game to go, and that game comes up Wednesday. So, I mean,
I mean,
it's a
so
must-win game,
we'll
and they
see.
have to hope for some results go in their favor as well.
Um, Not necessarily. It's not necessarily a must-win game.
Man, if they lose, they're out.
Yeah,
If they
if they lose, they're out, but it would allow them to focus on getting back into the league and securing spots.
Well,
The
possibly because they do have Arsenal coming up next, and Arsenal is just 6 points ahead of them. I mean, if they were to beat Arsenal, that cuts the gap on Arsenal just down to three. I mean, small margins, Christoph, very small margins. And I
right,
mean,
so there's
City
that
is one of the farm
potential
teams right
where
now.
City probably don't think they can win the Champions League and probably just don't care about the result and want to get themselves domestically they
Uh,
get themselves out of some competitions, allowing them to
no,
kind of be.
I don't think Pep is gonna take that route at all. He's gonna go guns blazing for that Champions League fixture and challenge himself to pretty much take this City team as far as they can go in that European competition, to
I,
be honest.
I don't know. I think it's a difficult thing. It is a must win, as well as you need other results to go your way.
Yeah, I mean, first order of business is to win, and then in terms of the other results, I don't think it's too far-fetched an idea. I mean, if they can beat, I'm not sure the team they're playing, but beat them by a few goals, I think they have an advantage in terms of the goal difference at this point in time. And as I said, other teams will also have to win in order to push City out of that competition. But I think Pep is definitely going to go all out. And I mean, City has been on a decent little run. I mean, as I said, they seem to have turned the corner. And this was a good tester for them versus Chelsea, especially Chelsea having taken the lead to, you could say, a calamitous defensive error, only for City to rally, come from behind, and eventually win that game. I mean, talk to us. I mean, is this now the new Chelsea we should be looking for, Christoph? I mean, we've said it all season. The formula is stop Cole Palmer, you stop Chelsea. And again, this is another classic example of that.
Um, yeah, stop Cole Palmer, you stop Chelsea, but also Chelsea didn't play great. Man City did apply pressure, but Man City still didn't look like that
Man City are
threatening
fault.
Man City of last season. I feel Chelsea could have won that game if potentially they had if they weren't so dependent on a Cole Palmer, and if the goalkeeping was better. Because I don't know what Sanchez was doing. To be honest, it was quite ridiculous. But
Oh, you mean
Chelsea,
on that Haaland goal?
yeah, yeah. I don't know what he was doing.
Well,
Chelsea, honestly,
I
I mean, Chelsea have a $2 billion squad, but it's looking like they need to dip into the market to have an alternative or somebody to complement Cole Palmer. If Cole Palmer is the only match winner in the squad, everybody is going to just stop Cole Palmer. You beat Chelsea, but I said it some weeks ago that we might be seeing Chelsea, hitting their level, and this is probably the type of result, up and down result we can expect for the remainder of the season.
mean, even in that game, to be honest, even after Chelsea took the lead, Jackson got a glorious opportunity to put Chelsea 2-0 up. And he basically fluffed his lines,
Yeah,
poor decision
I
making,
mean,
and the chance
we,
was spurned.
Nicholas Jackson is one of the worst strikers in the league. Earlier in the season, he seemed to be playing out of his skin,
Right?
overplaying, playing better than he is,
Yeah, I
and
mean, he
with
was scoring a few goals early on,
right,
in all
and
honesty.
it's kind of gone now. So
Yeah,
that
definitely,
might be
that is
something
gone.
Chelsea need to do. They might need to dip and get a striker, a proper striker, and potentially rid
But what
themselves.
what of those new City signings, Christoph? What did you see? I mean, that striker looked quite potent. Marrakesh, I believe is his name, Egyptian. He looked quite potent. I mean, he got off a few shots on goal, forcing the keeper into a few saves with a little more composure. He probably could have gotten on the score sheet. I mean, what's your take on him? Is he a player that will make an imprint on the City team?
For me, too early to say. Too early to
Mm,
say. And especially if people say Manchester City is hitting their form again, then that potentially means that Erling Haaland will be hitting form again, and then
right.
Marrakesh would see less game time and
Well, I
potentially
mean, he
not develop.
started up with Haaland, so it could be a two-prong attack or him playing just underneath Haaland, so to speak, almost like the Alvarez rule, so to speak, Christoph. So
Yeah, but
that could be
that
a
was
new
not
tweak that
that
Pep has
that
introduced.
that Alvarez rule was not a every game thing. You know, you won't
Well,
expect to see it every game. So, you
true.
know,
But I mean, in a big fixture such as this, for Pep to
he
throw him right in at the deep end, it shows a level of confidence he must have in this player.
I mean, it's maybe, or it could be that he said to himself, I don't really have anything to lose. You know, the season is already lost. You know, let me
Well,
experiment.
true. But I mean, this could be a good experiment he could take into that Arsenal fixture, Christoph. I mean, that's the next big game on the agenda for Arsenal and City. I mean, 6 points separate the two teams. City win, it's 3 points from Arsenal, and Arsenal further lose ground and league leaders Liverpool. So this is a big test if Arsenal actually has any title prospects. In all honesty, they need to get 3 points versus City. It's a must-win game for City. I mean, for Arsenal, they can't afford to lose any more ground than Liverpool.
As I said, some weeks ago, Arsenal, it doesn't really matter. If Arsenal don't make three signings this window, they won't be winning the league. They
Mm.
won't be winning anything without three
Or,
signings. They need
what are
a
you hearing as it relates to?
I'm not hearing anything. I don't know anything.
Mm,
The only signing I know they have made is is it Zumbia? Who is a signing for the summer. What was the point of that? Why would you buy a player for summer when you're short? No.
Yeah, and I
Stupid.
mean, looking at that game versus Wolves, uh, they went down to 10, but still managed to rally and actually squeezed out a 1-0 victory versus this Wolves team, which who also went down to 10 men, Christoph. I mean, you saw that game. What was your take on it? I mean,
Rubbish game, rubbish game. Poor,
poor refereeing decisions.
absolutely some of the worst refereeing I've seen all season, and there has been horrible refereeing all season. But straight red to Martin Skelly. They say it's a dangerous challenge. I didn't think it was a red tactical foul. Fine,
Yellow at most then.
rubbish call, right? Straight red, right? Gomez studs up. Shin of Jurian Timber. Second yellow. Why was it not a straight red?
Mm.
The
Well, I mean,
the following day, that Manchester United Fulham game, I saw Martinez studs up on a player, no card. So
mm,
clearly Arsenal is being refereed from a different rule book. I also saw Gomez kicking the ball away on a free kick. No card produced. Arsenal kicks a ball
delay in
away.
play.
I don't understand. I've only seen Arsenal get cards this season for delaying play.
Ah, interesting
Arsenal
times
is
ahead for
clearly
sure.
being refereed with a different book. I don't understand.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely some questionable decisions in that one, in all honesty.
I
Questionable decisions.
I don't even get how the VAR reviewed, Michael Oliver reviewed, and still went and said straight red, and yet how is the Gomez challenge also not a straight red? If you're if you're saying letter of the law, was the Gomez challenge not more dangerous than the Skelly challenge?
Consistency seemed to be missing in the refereeing decisions.
This is the same referee who did not give Mate- Mateo Kovacic a red card for a last man challenge in an Arsenal versus Man City fixture.
So are you saying there's a clear agenda?
This Michael Oliver has given Arsenal players more red cards than any other referee.
The statistics will show that.
The statistics will show that he is the referee that has given Arsenal the most, more than even a Howard Webb.
Mm,
Michael Oliver. And the PMG goal refuses to admit when they are wrong and double down on the wrong decisions.
mm. Yeah, definitely. That is something the EPL need to look at, in all honesty. Some of these decisions need to be ah
These referees need to
addressed, so to speak.
the referees need to be punished for making the wrong decision. If a player makes a wrong decision, they get a card, they are punished. You get carded out. Why are these referees not punished for wrong decisions? They keep making the wrong decision week in, week out, and then you're going to turn around and give these same referees the big matches to ref. They're going to do foolishness. Michael Oliver should be nowhere near an Arsenal fixture for the remainder of the season.
Well, Yeah, that's definitely something to look at. But Arsenal did manage still against the odds, Christoph, to get that victory, and they secured 3 points. Wolves, tough times ahead for Wolves. Very tough times ahead. And Arsenal moving on to the next one, 3 points in the bag, be it against the odds. But sometimes you have to go through these adversities at times and come out the victors at the other end. So
Oh
a
no,
1-0
no,
win for Arsenal there.
I don't think so because it seems like only Arsenal seems to be suffering these adversaries all
Well, I mean,
season, every season.
I mean, we could draw on some other examples.
Last season was
I
the
mean,
same thing.
Liverpool got a few dubious decisions, to be honest. I mean, still in the forefront of my memory is that legitimate goal which was scored versus Spurs, which was
Last season.
subsequently called back for what they say is an offside. I mean, that was one of the biggest errors I've seen. Same thing, similar thing happened in that Man City game with that studs up challenge of Doku in the box. And I mean,
No card given.
no card, no foul. So these are
Exactly.
some decisions
So
which you could look back and say, hey, if those decisions are given, the result would have been
uh,
different.
the
Liverpool could
the
have probably lifted the
the
title last
the
season. But such
the
are these things.
referees that make these decisions need to come after the game and they need to show the foul, show the infraction, and then they need to explain themselves why they made that decision. Cause
But I mean, that's not
I've
going to change the result of the game. That's the problem.
it not going to change the result of the game, but then we can examine what happened. And like I said, there should be punishment for these wrong decisions. Consistently making these wrong decisions, and these are high profile wrong decisions. These red cards or these lack of cards, no penalty given, no foul, they're affecting the results of
Yeah,
games.
definitely. Definitely. For sure. For sure. Definitely affecting the result. But we move through stuff. We can't dwell on it. It is what it is. It's just parts and parcels of the game that we have to live with. And some would say that over the course of the season, it balances itself out. Who to tell?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't.
But
It
we
doesn't.
move. We move. And Man U, Christoph, coming up big winners over Fulham, you could say. Didn't
No,
play well, but
not big
still
winners,
managed
not
to
big
get the
winners.
3 points.
Man United were lucky to get the 3 points. I believe they had two shots for the entire game, and it was the deflected shot from your centre back that scores. The forwards seem to be misfiring. I don't know if it's the forwards. I don't know if it's the creativity. I don't know what is wrong with United at the moment. They are very lucky to come away with those 3 points, in my
Well, it
opinion.
could be a case, to be honest, where the majority of the player doesn't necessarily fit the Amarin way of playing, doesn't fit the system. So Amarin is not going to change the system, which I like, to be honest. I feel that if you're coming in as a coach, a system which has been successful for you, a system which brought you to the attention of the club you're at now, I don't think you should go in and change your system. I think you should stick to your system, stick to your philosophy, and then get players who can fit that mold. So it's gonna take time. Is pretty much what I'm saying. It's gonna take time for Amarin to get the players that suit the system he wants to play. So, as I said, Manchester United is gonna get these indifferent results. Lose some, win some, draw some, and a case like this where not playing well but still manage to get 3 points. I mean, Fulham should be kicking themselves, especially at home. What says you? This to me is an opportunity lost for Fulham.
Definitely an opportunity last one for them. They probably should have and would have felt that they should have collected our 3 points, in my opinion. Um,
Definitely. Especially in front of their home fans. That's the shocking part about it. They usually play well, and against a poor Manchester United team, they should have taken their chances. But this is a moral boosting win, I would say, for United. That's what back-to-back clean sheets on the bounce, back-to-back victories. Getting a win. Oh well, no, not back-to-back clean sheets, but back-to-back victories. They had beaten Rangers over there in the Europa League, and then come weekend they have beaten Fulham. So looking ahead, I mean, they are doing well over there in Europe as well, if you want to look at their European farm. So it's at the end of the day, it's not all doom and gloom, but you are gonna get these indifferent results from United from week to week. There's gonna be a lack of consistency until Amarin gets the right formula and, of course, sort out the issues taking place in the locker room. I mean, Rashford comes to mind. He seemed to be on his way out of United, Christoph. What's your take on the Rashford situation? Can a relationship be salvaged with Amarin, or that's the end of the road for Rashford?
I don't know what is happening behind the scenes, you know. We only hear what they let us hear, to be honest. I don't know. I don't know what is the issue with Rashford. I don't know why he's not playing. I don't know if it's attitude. I don't know if you know, instructions. He's not taking the instructions being given to him. I don't know, but you know, like I have maintained, I don't think Rashford is as good as people think he is. He has never been
Mm.
as good as he is. Sometimes a player has a
So
good season.
where would you, in terms of wingers in the league,
Is Rashford
and
a
let
winger or is he a striker? I don't know.
no, he's a winger. He's a
He's
winger
a
for
winger.
sure.
All right, fine.
Yes, he's a winger. So which tier of wingers would you place him in? Let's
Probably.
say A tier would be like the Salahs, the Saka. B tier would maybe be like
So who is S
uh
tier?
well, I mean, we're going A, B, C.
Okay, okay, okay,
Where
fine.
yeah, where would Rashford fall?
Rashford is probably on a regular day. A Rashford is probably a D. In form, he's probably
D.
a C. You're right.
All
In form, he's a C.
right, hold on.
Right?
All right.
On
When
a
you
on
said
a
D, all
regular.
right, give me another winger in the league who would fall into that D category. That would be like to like with a Rashford, you're saying. If you're saying he's in D class. I don't think Rashford is in D class. I would maybe put him in C or
Fine,
B.
fine. Rashford is a C.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, I would
Rashford.
put Rashford in the same mold as a Martinelli or a Trossard, to be honest with you.
No, Trossard better than Rashford. Trossard, you can depend on Trossard to come and change a game for you.
Mm,
Potentially. Rashford, if Rashford is not in form, you don't get anything out of Rashford.
I see, I see. So end of the line for him then. It best Manchester United just cut their losses and move on.
Um, my opinion is that it should have been the end of the line for Rashford a long ago. Um,
But
but no, it's
but at
like
this point we're here. We are here now.
no, it's like I've been saying. It's like I've been saying is that Man United they come, they sign these players, they give them these ridiculous contracts, and then you can't sell them. Rashford is one of the highest paid player in the league, getting over 350,000 pound a week. Same with a Harry Maguire. Is Harry Maguire worth 350,000 pound a week? No.
Well, I'm not sure Harry Maguire, that's his
So,
salary. It might be a little less.
no. Harry Maguire gets 350,000 pound a week. No,
I don't have the
if
statistics in
you
front of me, but
if you go back to
big
probably
money
maybe
nevertheless. Big money.
somebody like a Harry Maguire is a player who has been derided for a number of seasons as being poor at Manchester United. But for some strange reason, United had recently renewed his contract, right? Why?
Are you
Why?
sure Harry Maguire fall
Ha-
into that mold of
Harry Maguire recently got
no,
a
wasn't
contract
he on
renewal.
his way to West Ham?
They
Maybe
were going
last year, I believe,
they were trying to sell him to West Ham,
right?
right?
But
But
his
then
contract hasn't been renewed since.
his contract was renewed shortly before that,
Oh, before. Okay,
right?
gotcha.
So I'm saying if this is a player who is so poor that you're trying to offload him, why was his contract renewed? I see same thing with
Poor business decision, it seems.
same thing with a Rashford, right? Rashford's contract was recently renewed as well. Why? He has
Mm,
not done anything to justify getting a new
big money.
contract. I mean, I can understand when you don't want to lose a player for free. I fully
Right.
understand that, but you don't give them a big money contract and then you can't offload them. It
And
would
that seemed to be the case with a number of Manchester United players. I mean, it
that
seemed
is
as
what
if in order
that
for
is.
Man U to get better, they just have to cut their losses, take a
But
big hit in the checkbook.
that's what I'm saying. Man, the recruitment has
Or
been
continue to see
poor.
the poor, inconsistent results on the field.
The recruitment has been so poor for so many years, right? And then when they recruit these players, they're buying them at large prices, right? So they paid 100 million or
So
something
they're
like that.
overpaying for players
They're
then,
overpaying for players, and then they're overpaying them.
in terms of salary.
In terms of salary. The same thing. If you recall, I was talking about Pogba. Pogba was inconsistent for Man United all the days of his life. Yet, for some reason, every time it comes around to contract running down, he got a contract renewal.
Right,
Why?
right. Probably his agent is just that good, Christoph, or Manchester United
Yes,
back
Mina
office is
Raiola
just
is
making
was
some.
a very excellent agent.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. But such are these things. Such are these things. We need a whole episode to dissect the Manchester United situation, you know. But we have a number of other matches to touch on. Liverpool getting another win versus Ipswich. You could say it was a routine win for Liverpool, except giving up that goal, you know, late on to muddy that clean sheet. That one ended 4 goals to 1. What can we say about this Liverpool team? Do you see any catching of them, Christoph? I mean, at this point in time, pretty much 13 wins from the remaining games should secure the league title. Can they be caught?
Um, yeah, Liverpool is two losses from being caught.
Mm,
It's not that hard. It would be the question is if anybody is going to do it because we see, Nottingham Forest just dropped points.
right.
Arsenal is, a bit inconsistent. They're getting the points. Inconsistent. They play against 13 man every week in, week out. So it's very difficult for Arsenal to catch them at the moment, as well as the injury crisis they're suffering from, and whatever
Injury
nonsense.
crisis. What injury crisis do you speak of?
Arsenal have had the most injuries for the
Well, I mean,
season.
that's why you need a squad, Christoph. I mean, you can't go into a season
Yeah,
with
so
11
I,
players.
I was
You
I
need a,
was
if
going
you're
to
challenging for the title, you need a deep squad.
I was going to follow up with saying that and their refusal to buy anybody in January,
Well, there
as
you
well
go.
as
So they have no
me
one to blame but themselves then.
as well as me telling you that Arsenal weakened themselves in the last transfer window. They did not get stronger. They brought in a number of players, but they sold so many players it didn't make it
Mm.
just cancelled. Oh, they weakened themselves at the beginning of the season.
But I
Brought in
mean, we're
nobody.
we're in the January window though, Christoph. I mean, this is a
Yeah,
prime
but
opportunity for them to rectify those errors.
clearly they are stupid. I don't know
Mm.
who over there is making the transfers, but
Well, I mean,
you
didn't the hierarchy get rid of Edu?
the I've heard some rumblings about that dismissal that Edu did not just leave of his own accord. Apparently they just they did not wish to fire an Arsenal legend. As such, he was allowed to leave. So I think the board were upset about the summer transfer business. But again, there's the same nonsense happening. You have the all of the January window. You can clearly identify what your problem areas are. You know you have a number of injuries, and you are not filling these positions. So if when they lose at the end of the season, it will be from poor planning.
So does Arteta go if Arsenal comes up trophyless this season, or he's locked in? He has enough credit in the bank in order to get
I
another
I
season under his
I
belt.
I think it depends. Personally,
I
if
mean,
I
Arteta has been there 5 years now. Correct me if I'm wrong.
yeah, yeah. This is his, it's fifth season, but
He's in his fifth season currently.
if you recall, he had started, half season. So technically four and a half, but
Four and a
fifth
half.
season. In my opinion, if I was on the board and I had provided everything to the manager and he failed, for a fifth season, then I would fire them. But if it's a case where the board know that they have not provided everything and they think the manager is doing a good job, then you give the manager another chance and you provide them with everything that they need.
But from your perspective, what's the narrative through your eyes? Has he been provided with everything and
I
is
that
just coming up short? Can
that
he
that is
take
it.
Arsenal over the line is the
Uh,
question.
that is it. In my opinion, I don't know if he's been provided by anything because
But based on what you're seeing,
for the
yeah.
last three seasons, I think Arsenal have been a couple of signings short of winning the league. The first surprise season when Arsenal challenged
Man City.
Manchester City, we knew Arsenal needed a couple of signings in the January. That was the window that they
Right.
had bought Trossard.
Right.
We could see that potentially
And Jorginho as well, I
and,
believe.
and Jorginho, right? We could see potential. We knew Arsenal needed a midfielder, right? We knew that they needed a centre back to cover for Saliba or a Gabriel if they got injured,
Mhm.
and put I wasn't 100% sold on the fact that we needed a striker at that time, but a striker would have done well. If you recall, after the window,
Oh, you mean a
um,
striker other than Jesus?
other than Jesus, that
Mm,
was that first surprise season when they challenged for the league.
right.
Um, Saliba went out injured, and that pretty much crumbled the rest of the season.
Mm-hmm.
So they knew they needed that defender, they didn't get it.
Right.
All
In
right,
came Timber
so
for the next season.
in came Timber for the next season.
Kivior.
Then he was injured for all of the entire season. Fine,
Right.
can't do anything about that, right? But then you also saw that you were potentially short a striker. Purchase no striker. That is on you, whoever is responsible for making that signing. If the board saw that they needed a striker and did not provide funds or did not instruct the manager to buy a striker, that is on the board. If the manager saw that they needed a striker, the board provide them with the resources and say, go and get a striker. And then you let 4 transfer windows pass and say you can't find a striker, you are at the manager is at fault, right?
So bottom line for you, what's the bottom line?
I said
That being said, all of that being said, what's the bottom line?
uh, uh, for me personally, if
Yes.
it was me, I would get rid of Arteta at this point
Get rid
because
of Arteta.
it
Say
it would
less.
it
Say
would feel
less.
like to me that he cannot get them over the line.
Say less. Say less. So Arteta out for you if he failed to deliver at the end of this season. Any form of silverware, whether it be Champions League, the EPL, or is Arsenal still in the FA Cup?
Yes. No,
Oh,
no,
there's
no, 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 no. Which one?
oh
Hold on.
well, you have the FA Cup and
No,
the
no, no.
Carabao Cup.
Arsenal out of the FA Cup. They still have a
A chance in
slim chance
right.
in the
Yeah,
Caballero Cup.
they have to come from behind to beat
Right,
Newcastle away
Newcastle.
from home, I
What
believe.
is it? 2 goals or 3 goals or something like that.
Right. Okay. All right. No problem. So Liverpool is it still the team to beat, so to speak. But I think Liverpool have two very tricky fixtures coming up, and those two fixtures I feel could be banana peels. Red Hot Bournemouth is up next, and they also have that game in hand versus Everton. So that will tell us the tail of the tape after those two games. We should see where Liverpool stand, but to me, if they're able to maneuver those two fixtures successfully, then I think they are really making a solid case for lifting this EPL title. But as they say, many a slip between the cup and the lip, and many a match to play, many results to come. But interesting times ahead for sure. Interesting times ahead. We also saw Everton getting a 1-0 victory over Brighton, Christoph. That's a game we had spoken about in the preview show. The new coach Bounce seemed to be featuring Everton, and they picked up another 3 points under David Moyes, getting a 1-0 victory over Brighton, getting that goal from the spot. What can we say about this Everton team? Have they now staved off relegation and are no longer looking over their shoulder?
No, not really. I mean, they're what on 23 points. They're just above the relegation zone. They're not. There's still a lot of football to be played for the rest of the season. They
But do
can
you see
still.
them being drawn into a relegation battle, so to speak, or
They've
those at the
they've
foot of the table remain at the foot?
they've won. I think we can probably safely say Ipswich and Southampton will get relegated. I think
Right.
it's
It's
that
just a
third
matter of the
spot,
third team.
whether it's going to be Wolves, Leicester, and and or Everton or Tottenham.
Tottenham, you're well, you're you're putting Tottenham in that bracket of fighting off relegation. I mean,
Tottenham
Leicester
is
did
on
beat them over the weekend. That was
Tot-
another big surprise as well, down
Tottenham is
there at the foot
on
of the table.
Tottenham is on 24 points. Tottenham have
But it
not won a
doesn't
game in the
it
last 10.
I must say, Tottenham, the squad Tottenham has is too good to be relegated, surely.
I know I've said it and I've repeated it that the first season for Tottenham managers is usually easy. I mean, they don't necessarily win anything, and Tottenham hasn't won anything in so long. But they perform well and it gives you hope. The second season is always the killer for these Tottenham managers, and as we can see, Ange lost his job, but
Oh,
as
Angelas is up.
yeah, Pastor he was fired after the game.
Oh, I did not realize. This is breaking news for me. Angelas his job.
Yeah, Ange was,
Oh,
to
wow,
my knowledge.
wow,
Let
wow.
me double check. Let me double check. But
Whoa, I did not hear that news, to be honest with you. I did not hear that news. So that's a shocking revelation to me at this point in time. But I mean, it wouldn't be a surprise. Spurs have been on a bad run of form, especially defensively. They seem not to be able to keep the ball out of the back of their net. Granted, I mean, they have been rocked by injuries in that central part of their defense. Their first choice goalkeeper is out. Their first choice centre back pairings are also missing in action, and that is having a detrimental impact on this team. I mean, even before they
I'm
weren't the
wrong.
most
I'm wrong. I'm
defensively
wrong. And
sound.
Ange is still there. Ange is still
Ange
there.
is still there, but
He's still
it could
there.
just
But
be a matter of time, in all honesty, Christoph. I mean, chances are, if he doesn't get a positive result in the next game, it could be lights out for him. He could be going through the door.
um, honestly, I don't think the fault lies with Ange, in my opinion. The fault with Tottenham for the as long as Daniel Levy is in charge, nothing will change for Tottenham.
Mm.
I even remember a number of years ago when Jose Mourinho was manager. Daniel Levy fired Jose Mourinho the day before the FA Cup final. What a ridiculous decision! Why would you not wait until after the game?
Right, right, right. Yeah, that
So
that was a
as
very
long
strange one.
as long as Daniel Levy is in charge, it will not nothing will change for Tottenham.
Mm.
It doesn't matter who they bring in.
Interesting times ahead for sure. But any final thoughts though, Christoph? I mean, we're quickly running out of time. Any final thoughts on the action that was over the weekend? And of course, we have Champions League coming up on Wednesday, the final fixture in the first round of the new format in the Champions League is coming up on Wednesday, and all the teams will be in action
Uh,
simultaneously, not to give any team any advantage over the next, as
I
teams are
don't
battling it out to qualify.
think this new format is sensible, to be honest. Go back to the old format and just
Mm.
add more teams, in my opinion. Add a couple new groups. Go back to the old formula.
Mm.
Um,
Well, time will tell for sure. Time will definitely tell.
a couple interesting shock results over the weekend, but I think that has to be marred by the poor level of officiating, in my opinion. The league definitely can't continue with the referees deciding games, in my opinion. If that's the case, people probably should stop watching. They need to the referees and PGM goal or whatever they want to call themselves need to be held more accountable and to a higher standards. They can't be doubling down on wrong decisions, in my opinion.
Well, there you have it, viewers and subscribers, the thoughts of Christoph. Thanks again, viewers and subscribers, for tuning in to us here on Beating the Press podcast. Please continue to support us by sharing, liking, leaving your comments. And of course, if you haven't subscribed as yet, hit that subscription bell. We'll be back to preview the weekend's action coming up, and we look forward to your company. But until next time, this is Rafa signing off.